Interesting.
You good?
Hmm?
Are you good?
I'm waiting for you.
I'm waiting for you. You said you were going to close stuff.
Oh, I did. Yeah. What are you waiting for?
Are you about to talk?
No, what?
You went.
I was yawning.
It's tournament style.
Hello and welcome to Tournament Style. I am your host, Austin, and I'm joined as always by the podfather himself, Guillermo Delgado. Guillermo, what was the last flight you were on?
You come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I had time to practice. The last flight I was on feels like it was Germany. Actually, wasn't. Crazy story. The last flight I went on was Houston to Philly. Houston to Philadelphia.
Why does it feel like it was Germany? Because like the flight took so long, or
no, high population of German people in Philadelphia. But that was a really long time ago, and I was thinking the other day, I feel like I haven't traveled in a while. Like I feel like going somewhere. I was going to go to the Kentucky Derby, and then a friend bailed on me. So there's that. But Philadelphia, one of my favorite cities.
He was probably busy.
Or just an asshole. He doesn't like mint juleps.
Fair.
Only our one listener who listens every week is going to get these.
Yeah, I haven't been on a flight since I was like a kid. I haven't gone on like an adult flight in a long time.
Are you scared of flying?
No, I just haven't gone anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We can just drive everywhere. Honestly, Texas is like its own country almost. Like you can,
Yeah, I have to drive 5 hours to go see my parents, so it's like
yeah. College was a 9-hour drive for me from the Valley to East Texas, so that was insane. It was like thinking about like going back for Thanksgiving was like, dude, I'm gonna drive for 2 out of the 4 days that we have off. Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But okay, where was the time you flew as a kid? Where'd you go?
I believe my last flight was to Sacramento.
Oh, nice. Never been to Sacramento.
Yeah.
Is that the capital, or am I crazy?
It is the capital of California.
Okay.
Hey, what's the capital of like Nebraska? If you have to just guess off the top of your head.
I would say Omaha with no prior
I'd
influence.
say Lincoln. So
Lincoln, interesting. I wonder
someone fact check us, yeah.
And tweet us.
But yeah, it was Sacramento. It was for a chess tournament.
Nice. How did it go?
I
feel like it just happened.
I was 11.
Okay.
So I don't remember.
Versus other 11-year-olds though.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
versus a lot other like 11, 12, 13-year-olds.
Nice.
Yeah.
I forget a few of our friends were pretty serious about chess. I like always, and it comes up all the time, and I always forget because I just don't.
I mean, you say serious, but I mean they were just like on the team. Like it's like if you were in like in choir, like
we didn't go to Sacramento.
You probably weren't very good.
Yeah, well, there's also less. Never mind. Speaking of, no, I'm just kidding. Too soon.
Wait, what?
It's music stuff.
Oh, you're teasing the tournament, which is what we do here. What do we do here, Guillermo?
We tournament all. Hold on. We tournament. We talk about all things tournament, and we tournament all things. We create a tournament every week, and we fight it. They fight it out to see what the number one thing of the category is that week.
That's very true. We tournament here. So if you're here for the first time, we will tournament. But first, we do a little bit of other stuff. We do some like housekeeping. There's a. No, I don't want to get into this. There was some corrections that I keep forgetting to
go over at the beginning.
From our intern?
Yeah, from intern. Oh, you know what? Something I thought of when I listened back the other day. LY words. Remember I said they were like adverbs or something? This is a dumb thing to bring up. Definitely
sure.
not. They're definitely. Whatever I said, I was wrong. I don't remember. I don't remember what it was, but I was wrong. Just wanted
Did you look that up, or did someone bring that to you? Did the intern?
No. When I listened back to the episode, I looked it up and I was like, oh.
I'll give my own correction. During the Best Mom, I think I said Moira shit. Their last names is Rose. They moved to Schitt's Creek, which they bought. I was getting that confused with the other people that live there, whose last name is that, I believe.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even catch that one.
There you go. Correction from myself.
There you go. That's a segment we call corrections. Self-corrections.
yeah, I turned into that one. He's not getting credit for that. But yes, so another thing we do is rants. Do you have a rant this week, Guillermo?
Yeah, I'm afraid to go on a rant because last week's was maybe a little controversial.
Wait, what did you say? Do we want to? It was controversial?
Yeah, well, I think y'all should go. Do you know? Do I need to tell you?
I didn't remember what you said.
Y'all should go back and listen. But I was listening to it and I was like, "Oh, come on, man! You got to pull yourself out of this one." Yeah. Give me a second. I'll pull up my list of rants. Oh yeah. Okay, I've got a rant also similar to the other one where it's kind of open to a discussion. Is that cool?
Not really sure, I guess.
Well, it's just because I've been sitting on these for a while, so it's almost like they've turned into like something I think about more than just I was mad about one day. You know what I mean? Like when I first thought of it, it's just because I was mad about it that day. It was a rant, right? But I've kind of been saving it. I don't know. Let's see if you kind of feel the same way I do. I feel like it's gonna be kind of a general, maybe kind of everybody feels this way thing. I feel like, how can I put this? In lots of different parts of our, different aspects, cultures, places, especially right now, I would say in the political like spheres and stuff, there's kind of always like seems to be a sect of people that say that everybody else is too sensitive, right? They're like, you coddle everybody and, you can't, I can't say anything around you, blah, 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 blah. I think that those people that feel like they're coddling like everybody else are the most coddled people.
Okay.
Because everybody has to put up with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in a way. To me, it feels like an even broader way of saying that. Like, that was kind of specific, but like the people who are the most like vocal about certain things usually like tend to be those things in a way.
Yeah. Part of that.
Knowing. Yeah. Part of the thing that they complain about.
It's kind of like you project that thing that you.
Right.
So
you're saying in this rant scenario that the people who complain about the society becoming soft are soft themselves.
Not necessarily saying that they are soft, but almost saying that they feel like they have to, again, either coddle or like tolerate the sensitivity, but really they're kind of having to be like, they're the person in the room that everybody's like, okay, like, it's kind of like if you have.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't want to say, because I don't want to put anybody on blast or anything, but it's almost like if you have like a super like boomer sort of insensitive like dad figure, right? And he's just all these things and it's like, oh well, I've got to watch what I say around you guys and you're too sensitive. And it's like you're kind of the person that's making us feel what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
something just, and it's just weird because it's so delayed now, but something just happened to me a few weeks ago where I was like, dude, like this is so backwards. Like we're like, and it happens a lot in the political spectrum. You see people on Twitter that's like, oh, like, people are so, you have to baby everybody. It's like, no, we're not, you're the one that's being babied. Like we don't want to talk to you. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I guess in an even more like non-biased sense. It's almost like almost everybody has to be babied at some point.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So it's
for
like
sure.
they're seeing it through the other people having to be babied because that's what they're choosing to look at.
Right.
And they're not choosing to look at when they need to or when other people need to,
Yeah.
or some people feel like they should
Like,
be, or
right. Like, what are the things that make me what's the word, like that other people have to accept about me to like for me to be a part of like society and you know, it's just social circles and stuff.
I
Hey,
like
that's
that
something.
rant.
Yeah. I think it's not as fresh. I think it's a little better than the intelligence is bad or whatever. But I also like the way you put it, because that is something I think about a lot too, is that a lot of times the quality that that people like lash out on a lot is kind of a quality that sometimes they like possess. I feel like I see it a lot too.
It's fair.
But anyway, that's my rant, you know.
That was good.
I've been saving that one for a bit, and I wanted to hear what you thought about that one.
I like it. I like that you were also saving it and have a fleshed out one, because I have one where, you know how you described like having a rant is like you were mad at the beginning, right, or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll just say my Washington Capitals lost in the playoffs and now they're out.
Ooh.
And I'm sad about that.
This
Ovechkin.
is hockey?
Yeah, hockey. Nice.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Alex Ovechkin, getting old. I think he's played like 16 seasons. This might have been his last one, which would be very sad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So. Is he going back to Russia or wherever?
Yeah, probably. I don't know, maybe.
I'm sorry your Capitals lost.
Nobody wants to live in Washington, you know?
I don't. Wait, the state or the municipality? Wait, what do you...
The district, yeah.
Oh, the district, yeah. Not there, yeah. If you had to... Never mind. I know the answer to this.
Wait, what?
No, I was going to say if you had to choose the state or the city.
Which one would I live in?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually tough. I don't know.
Is it?
I don't really care for Seattle.
Yeah. It's... Wait. Oh, yeah. Why was I thinking Seattle was a state? Man. You know what? Other really quick, not a rant, but almost kind of like a plea. I've got 2 days left of school, and let me just say this for everybody.
You're a student?
If you a student of teaching, if you have a friend who's a teacher,
oh come on,
just man,
come on.
I don't know what it is. It's the worst time of the year. It's like I'm constantly about to break. It's insane. Just pat him on the back. No, just a gentle.
You're literally pat. Saying that the adults that I do agree. Working with children's tough. I'm not. I
don't even know if it's that.
I appreciate. Listen. I appreciate all the teachers in my life. Right. But you're literally talking about the adults that are about to get off from work. Right, that's the group of people you're talking about.
Some of us have summer school,
but the way you're talking about it, because it's like the last days.
You know that's so true, but maybe it's because of the anticipation.
Because there's a last day.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it is, man. Do you feel like this all the time? Like it never ends?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh gosh, oh man.
I mean, I just feel like, I think in general, if you had to look at both of our jobs, yours is definitely more stressful. I'll give it to you there because of the kids, because you work with people, little people, still people.
Yeah.
I work at a desk. I don't really work with people.
Right. It's more of like there's work on your table you gotta do. Yeah. I mean, I guess that also depends if you're the type of person that gets exhausted by being around people, or just the constant stimulation of like kids yelling at you. I don't know. I had to put it out there for my teacher brethren. You know,
I have too many teachers in my life.
You do have a lot of yeah. You can't say anything bad about us, or we'll turn on you. We have a whole summer to like fuck with you, you know?
Yeah, true. But yeah, I you're gonna have one more week, and then you'll be good to go.
I'll be able to do this podcast every day.
What kind of a
24/7.
teacher are you?
Oh, I'm a music teacher.
Oh yeah,
that's why I have all these instruments in my room. I don't use them for class or anything.
Speaking of you being a music teacher, what tournament are we doing today?
You're gonna have to help me with how we're wording this, but basically, best instrument to learn.
Yeah, I like the way that sounds.
Okay, pretty
general.
We're
doing a tournament on the best instrument to learn. So you yourself, who's listening, we're about to tell you what the best instrument for you to learn is.
Yeah, right. If you've ever thought about wanting to learn an instrument,
or if you've never thought about it,
and start listen to the pros and cons here. As unbiased as I can be, I'm the type of person I think everybody should learn an instrument. Just have that in your life. There's something about music.
Sound unbiased.
As unbiased as I can be. Is what I said.
Sure, I'll go the other way. No one should learn an instrument.
Well, that sounds a little biased.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm going the other way.
I see. Yeah, I gotcha. But anyway, yeah. So we've got a list of some instruments. Some of the instruments are lumped into like instrument families because there's a lot of different ones. I hope that doesn't feel like a cop out to anyone, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. If you're new here to tournament style, just get used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're about to go into a tournament to find out what the best instrument is. But before that, I will say just a little background. You are a music teacher. You do know a lot about this stuff. You have a master's degree.
Master's in music, yeah.
And I do not know a single instrument.
You don't know? Or you don't like play or?
Yeah, both.
You've heard of most of these.
Debatable.
I said most.
Yeah, just a little background on where we both stand on these instruments.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm going to learn what instrument I should learn. I won't learn it, but I should learn this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll buy. Never mind. I was going to say I'll buy you the one you decide you like, but there's some on here that I probably.
Come on.
I'll think about it.
Let's get into it.
All right.
In the first matchup, we have the guitar and bass guitar. We combine those versus a DJ / electronic music.
Yeah, this was an interesting one because we needed an 8th seed. Peek behind the curtain a little bit.
No. We wanted this one in for the whole time.
If that's how you feel, that's fine.
Wait, the guitar barely?
Oh no, the DJ. Okay, what?
Yeah, so the DJ thing, it's not like a typical instrument like a guitar or something, right?
Yeah, you kind of have to know you want to be a DJ before you buy the equipment to learn how to become a DJ, right? I mean,
right.
At least like a legit DJ. I mean, I'm not talking about like DJ apps. Like there's definitely, I've talked to a couple. There's a lot of technical skill also involved in kind of like doing that kind of thing. It's a lot different from a music producer. Like I'm talking about analog. There's a DJ, a turntable. There's turntables in front of you, and there's different things. You do your own sound design and stuff like that. So there's a lot of tech. It's the DJing part is more like an instrument. The other electronic music stuff is kind of like if you want to learn to be a producer or something.
In your opinion, you don't DJ, do you?
I don't know much about DJing. No, I don't.
Do you think you have to know a lot about music before you get into that? Or do you think it can be something you just learn off? Like that's the first instrument you would know. Would you go into that and be easy?
It's interesting because you can make this argument for a few of the instruments, but I think the DJing will rely more on your ear than your actual musical knowledge, because you kind of just have to hear if things go together, if they're in the right key. Like as long as you're not mishmatching like the worst things together.
Well, I don't know what a key is, so
yeah, it's kind of like, well, hold on, do we want to do this?
Well, I'm trying to come at it from someone who's gonna learn, right? It's like,
yeah, it's kind of like you can't just mash any two songs together.
Like I guess the point is that I was getting at is that if guitar, I feel like every idiot picks up a guitar, right?
Ouch.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I guitar is definitely the most picked up instrument, I would say. There during COVID, guitar sales, I saw some kind of data from Guitar Center or something. Guitar sales like skyrocketed. Like guitar sales,
you should have bought
the
guitar stock.
Guitar stock. Well, I don't know if there's any publicly traded guitar stores.
No, I just mean like in hypothetical term of like people just bought guitars.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean it was definitely it's definitely the instrument that's the most attractive to a person who doesn't play instruments, I guess.
Well, I don't know about that. I just mean in a sense of like it feels like you don't really need to know much about to start learning. Like it feels like that would be one where you would learn like what to like what you know, a key is, like what note this is.
I think a guitar is good for learning that stuff. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. DJing is not going to teach you as much of that. You're going to just be relying on what you think sounds good. I would say not being a DJ also.
Right. Neither of us are DJs or doctors.
Or doctors.
Yeah, we'll just throw that out there.
Well, yeah, okay.
You're not a doctor.
No, I didn't say that, did I?
Okay. So like you were going to.
I was going to say something.
So the guitar has never interested me as someone who doesn't, you know, care for learning an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
The bass guitar, however, does feel cooler.
Ooh, it feels cooler. Like
if I were to learn one on the own, I would prefer the bass, like just because, not like for a music thing. I just feel like I'd rather play that. Like that just feels cooler.
Oh, it actually just feels cooler.
Yeah.
Bass also is probably the most or one of the most versatile instruments. It's like in every genre of music, like rock, hip hop, you know, pop, whatever. So I think that makes the guitar / bass, and we're talking about electric bass, right? So not
opposed to
like stand up classical bass.
Well,
or like a jazz kind of, it's kind of I would say guitar bass is stronger than DJ versus electronic because it's
I
more accessible.
I think it doesn't lose in the first round as much as I like the DJ and that music and everything. And I think it's if we were doing like almost just best instrument, I might even vote for that. But to learn, I feel like guitar is such a it's a basic bitch instrument almost.
Yeah, I feel that.
So I would have to vote for that.
That's good with me.
Okay. In our next matchup, we have the drums versus the cello, violin, orchestral string instruments, like the stand-up classical bass you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. Very sweet. Okay. He's learning. I can't stand in front of someone and not teach them music. It's kind of just.
You didn't teach me any of that. I said that on my own from knowledge that I knew, right?
That's exactly how it should feel when you're a great teacher. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to
were you said were you gonna say something?
Maybe. So this is cello, violin, those type of instruments. Also, viola is one of those.
Oh, you're learning. Nice.
I taught myself. No one's trying to play viola, honestly. Unless you're really gonna try to have a career as a
violist,
like an orchestral gigging musician. I don't know what the thought process is. Violists come from somewhere, and I don't know.
Well, I think it's the same place, like these like instruments that aren't like a guitar where like anyone will just pick it up. Like if it's like to me it's like a school thing, right? Like you join a school band, that's true. Or you join like your school orchestra, and they'll just be like, "Here, you're now playing this."
Yeah. You get handed a viola, right?
Exactly.
You don't choose it. That's fair. But
like
all those
tuba,
are lumped into
or like, you know what I mean? Like it's
You're filling in a certain part of the the ensemble structure.
You started with a different instrument, maybe even,
right?
And then now you're playing the.
You wanted to play guitar, really?
Yeah. How difficult is it to play one of those orchestra string?
This, I would say, this is one of those instrument families where there's just a very steep curve. So you can learn them fairly simply, but to get decent at them, it's like a lot of work, a lot of practice, a lot of very meticulous, just kind of stuff like that. Yeah.
In your opinion, is it like easily discourageable for someone who's like learning?
I would say yes, for sure. Unless these instruments, almost it's easier if you come from like a more musical family, or like if you're in school, like you were saying. Because if you're kind of just doing it on your own and you're not getting the guidance to get the good sound from it, it's going to sound bad, like very easily sound bad, because of the way you have to produce a good tone with it. So it's very easily to get discouraged on these.
And also coming from someone who doesn't know anything, it feels like there's like not a gatekeeping, but it feels like there's like a stigma around these instruments where it feels like there's a difficult barrier of entry. Kind of like you were saying. I
totally agree.
But
I totally agree. It has to do with that, as well as the music you're going to play is probably going to stem towards classical.
Sure, yeah.
So if you're not into that, also it's going to be less discouraging. So you're totally right. There kind of is almost, and I don't want to go down this road, but there's a lot of gatekeeping in the classical music world, which is really bad, and that's why it's not the only reason why, but that's one of the reasons it's not as popular like as it used to be. And it kind of, there's like a kind of sticky air to it sometimes, unless you really know someone or really go to a certain concert or something that's really cool and you're like, dude, this is awesome. But a lot of times it's just very discouraging to even trying to just listen to that kind of music. It's like, there's so much, what do I listen to? Like, if you listen to all the boring stuff, you're not going to like it. I tell people all the time, there's boring classical music and there's good classical music. It's just like anything else. I don't know.
Right. It'd be like getting into football and then watching Jags versus the Browns or something. It's like, you don't want to do that.
Is that a no-no?
This is boring, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other side, we have drums, like percussion instruments, I guess.
Yeah.
We can lump all that. That seems difficult to learn just out of, from just watching or just from, obviously not playing the drums. But it does feel easier to enter, because it feels like if there is like a band or like in your school or something, there's a lot more people, just because it's like a cool instrument, people would want to learn it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's not as much opportunity, like in that kind of setting.
There's not really a barrier there, at least compared to like the other ones. It feels like if you want to learn it somewhere, you can.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see. Definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely feel like, especially to, again, like you're saying, people that kind of want to remain cool but also be into music.
Yeah,
right. That's kind of the instrument. One kind of hard thing about learning is, if you're going to learn like drum set, it's just buying the drum set, which is really hard. And well, now they have like electronic ones too, but yeah, they're expensive and they're loud. But if you can get that, and like bad advice to parents, because their drum sets are loud, man. But if you can get a drum set, they really are one of the best instruments to learn, because they teach you a lot about coordination. And
you're a music teacher, you're a big music guy, you love music, obviously. You have a kid, hypothetically. Are you teaching him every instrument that you can? Are you getting him a drum set?
Every instrument?
Yeah. Like, are you teaching him your favorite? What are you doing here?
There's an instrument that I would instantly say, child of mine, if you like music, this is the holy grail. This will teach you everything. But I don't want to say it because it's one of these.
Oh God, okay.
There's one instrument.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Probably. It's like a very universal instrument, and from that instrument you can kind of like
what I was talking about, the DJ stuff. Like, you won't learn anything if you start there,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to like
Yeah.
the other instrument you're talking about. It will
Correct.
probably help if you wanted to learn anything
It'll
else.
help any instrument. And to a point, drums will do that, but with the coordination side of things. This other instrument gives you the knowledge. This gives you like, hey man, if you can be coordinated enough to play drums, you can easily play guitar or other instruments.
Does drums beat cello, violin, orchestral in this matchup? I feel like it does.
Yes, because of the accessibility, and the violoncello thing is very niche. But I will say, especially if you're someone who's older and just never has had a chance to play an instrument, and you're just curious, I think it would be fun and rewarding if you're someone who just has time to do that.
Oh, that makes sense. We also might have to do like just best instrument one day, because the violin is probably like one of my favorite sounds. Like
they're very beautiful sounding instruments. Yeah. Yes. Cello and violin, definitely.
But yeah, the drums will move on. We'll go on to the next matchup here. It's woodwind instruments, so like a clarinet, a flute, an oboe, I guess.
Yeah.
Versus of someone's voice. Singing.
Right, the voice.
Yeah, the voice as an instrument. Full disclosure here. I played the saxophone growing up.
Nice. That's right. Oh, you lent me your sax for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Might have it, maybe. I don't think I have it, but
if I have it, it's at my parents' house.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's there for sure.
So and you have a master's in voice, so we're kind of like the same level in like.
Hold on a
minute. Like sax, and then you're like woodwinds, and then voice.
Say that exact same thing again, but slower. I agree to disagree here. As a sort of master teacher in music, discouraging someone from their musical like ambitions and beliefs, we don't do that here. You know,
it feels like you do that a lot.
Well, you know, just the one kid that if you're kind of off pitch, I can work with it. If you're like really not feeling it, you're gonna do something else.
What are your thoughts on voice as an instrument?
When I was here's something funny you might not know. In the sort of, you know, academic musical world, a lot of people make the joke that there's musicians and there's singers.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. It depends on how you approach singing, because I studied the voice and approached it as an instrument for like a long time, but most people probably won't do that, and most people will probably sing awesome in an awesome way without having to kind of do that, because the voice is the instrument like we all kind of have and feel and use naturally. And if you can get your voice to sort of, I mean, it's the human every band.
As someone with
instrument.
A terrible voice, I had to laugh at that because it's very funny to me. I will say, you know, not to say that you know more, but I feel like you're saying like, oh, people who don't study whatever, you know, those whatever. You literally have like, I feel like you are almost allowed to be like, this is how I think of the voice as an instrument, and be right almost.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying almost is like with the voice, if you are good at listening to something and then just trying to copy it, you can do tons of things. Guitar, you can't do it. You have to learn something. You have to learn where to put your fingers.
Are you saying like, you know what I mean? Singing is easier?
I'm saying it's a more, like, and not easier, but it's easier if you approach it sort of like that rather than, you know,
learning
technical. You know, I learned the different
okay
muscle or the cartilages
there's
in my
parts
throat
of the voice, because we all have one, that make it easier to like figure out in a certain way.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
To answer your question, I guess, you know.
Well, just as like an instrument in general, it feels like a lot of people would love to be good singers.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like everyone just sings.
It's a very vulnerable. It's a part of you, and I think everybody wants it to be like, you know, something that they can be confident with, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, you know, especially when I was teaching voice lessons, the biggest thing to be aware of is like, don't make someone feel uncomfortable, because like, say, hey, do you mind if we sing this or do this? Because people get scared. Like people are scared. Like, you know, public speaking is like a big fear, right, in society. Like, you know, think about like singing for someone. Like it's kind of a hard, if you look at it as an instrument, it's hard because it's just, you know, it's very vulnerable, I would say.
Going back to when I asked about your hypothetical kid, would you want them to like learn singing, voice, if they were into music?
If they wanted to, you know what I mean? Like that wouldn't be, I wouldn't say like, oh, you want to be a musician? Definitely sing. Like I wouldn't necessarily do that. I think there's
like, you'd be cool if they like were a badass drummer, guitar player, and then had a terrible voice. Like you'd just be like, whatever.
I would be like fine with it. I mean, I think to a degree, again, because like I was saying, this is the instrument that everybody kind of has. Once you become a good enough musician in any other instrument, your voice kind of will follow along.
You think so?
There's just, I think there's a brain. I theorize that I would assume most people I meet kind of you know, kind of follow that.
I will say maybe only because it might also just be like not a coincidence, but it's like if you're into music, you might also just learn
that too.
Like to train, you just might practice that stuff. You know what I mean?
I think that's a big part of it, but it also just developing your ear is a huge part of your voice. Developing how much music you even listen to. Yeah, kind of like what you're saying. But no, I don't think singing, especially singing, quote unquote, well, that's not like a crucial part of being like a well-rounded musician. I think you need to be able to match pitch. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, there you go. That's someone who doesn't have the most beautiful, but he, you know, emotes extremely well, and his, you know, musicianship has grown.
And that's going up against woodwind instruments. What are your thoughts on that? Do you play any, or do you? What are your thoughts on learning that?
No, the woodwinds and well, a few of these I have little experience with, but I don't play any woodwind instruments. I've maybe tried a couple, you know, here and there, but this is a niche one as well. Do
you think so?
I mean, because you're gonna play it in either like band or orchestra, right? Like, where else are we gonna? Are you gonna? I mean, if it's just for a hobby, yeah, that's
right.
You know.
So I was about to say that. I was like, you do realize most people, like, I guess it's like if you learn to play the guitar, then I mean. Again, I'm just gonna shit on people who play guitars. Well, you're going to be the guy that picks up a guitar anywhere and plays it because you're probably that guy who doesn't care about other people. But yeah, it's like most of these, like you work in that, so like you deal with this. But I feel like most people who would like play something like this or learn to play something like this,
right?
It's hobby-ish and they play it. They've learned to play when they were young or something.
Right.
They're not in a band necessarily if you're playing like a clarinet, right?
I guess the reason I brought that up is because I'm trying to imagine what music they'd be playing. You know what I mean?
No.
Like what if you want to learn, if you want to pick up flute for fun, like what are you going to be learning, like flute music wise? Like at some point you're going to run out of like solo flute music is what I'm saying. Guitar,
I don't necessarily think that's true.
No, you think there's like music for just a flute, like just
yes, definitely.
I mean, you know, all the luck to the hobbyist, the flutists out there. But it's just in my mind, it's more niche. It's definitely like someone is more likely to pick up a guitar in their life, musician or not musician, than like a flute, or any of these. And that's going up against voice, right?
I think you know more people that have played a woodwind than you think.
That's true. You mean like they played it like as kids or
just
at
any point, as opposed to like playing a guitar or something?
Maybe, because I guess the only people I can think of are people that would have been in school with me. Like,
sure.
Yeah. Like yeah.
Yeah, and that's going up against voice. So I mean,
that is a thought that I like, but
I don't really lean either way. So if you want to take this one, that's fine with me.
I mean, I'm gonna lean more voice, right? I mean, it's
okay. I mean, this is easiest or best instrument to learn. So that's
for sure.
You think the voice.
Yeah. And I definitely, because I'm going to say, I think anybody who wants to learn to sing, you should definitely go for it and definitely do it. Because I think people all the time are like, oh, I just can't sing. And I don't believe that. But anyway.
You don't think someone can't do a skill that's required to like learn?
I think less people, I think that's true for less people than actually say it. You know what I mean?
I guess. I feel like it's like I believe people if they are bad at the skill and say they're bad at it.
Yeah, but some people just won't do it because they're like, nah.
I don't think I know people like that.
Maybe.
I don't think I know anyone like that. In our next matchup, we have in our last matchup of the first round, we have the piano versus brass instruments. So like a trombone, a tuba, a cornet, even.
Oh, nice.
And one of these are like the instruments that you were saying that everyone should pick up.
Right, that's
the trombone.
Everybody, if you want to learn a single thing about music, go out and buy like a $1,600, $3,000 trombone.
Yeah,
French, yeah.
No, the piano obviously is. Go ahead and wax about that for a little bit.
Piano. If you want to put your kids in any type of music lessons, future or otherwise, put them in piano, man. That's the instrument that I wish I had learned piano as like now that I'm a musician. I'm like, man, if I could change something about, my life, I'd go back and be like, learn piano. It's so universal.
Hey man, you can just do it now. You messed up your mic.
Well, hello, test. Okay. I'm back. No, it's too late is what I said. The musician I've evolved into, there's no hope for it changing it.
Wait a minute. That's funny. Yeah, it feels like I was almost, when we started this tournament, I was almost going to call the guitar / bass the Hershey's or like the number one go like, but I don't know. You think more about it. If you were to ask like most people if they could just like know an instrument, like if you just know an instrument right now, I feel like a lot of people would say piano.
That's true. Yeah, I feel
because of the way you mentioned about like just it'll help just like anything.
Mm-hmm. It's also piano is bigger in pop music than guitar and bass is, and pop music tends to be a little more popular of a genre, hence the name pop music. Because if you're learning to play guitar, you learn to play Wonderwall, and then after that, it's like what songs?
You learn to play. What's the songs that everyone learns how to play?
Wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. And then after that, it's like, oh, I have to actually learn like rock music or blues music. It's like I don't want to do that.
This is almost going back to your flute argument.
Yeah. I mean, a big thing about which instrument you learn is what kind of music do you want to play,
So it's also more difficult, right? Wouldn't you say?
Piano, I mentioned this earlier. Piano is another one that has one of those curves. And piano, some people say, has the biggest curve. It's the easiest to learn, the hardest to master. I
totally see that. Like everyone can like play like if you learn it for like a little bit, like Twinkle.
Yeah.
Or like one of those songs that everyone teaches little kids. And then you see those professionals at it, and it's
Anyway, but yeah, those people that are insane at piano for sure. That's it has 88 keys. I mean, you can do a lot.
Right? Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah, for sure. It's an orchestra reduced right onto.
I like that.
Yeah, piano for I like all the points you made about like woodwind and stuff, but brass is the same to me. It's a little niche. The music you're going to be playing is going to be either very reliant on a bigger group, or there's going to be a limited amount of it, I would say. And they're loud. More expensive too. Piano, you can just buy a keyboard before you commit to, something more legit.
That's fair.
Brass is I know. You're going to borrow one from the school or dish out 4K or however much.
Yeah, no, I agree with it getting by in the first round. The brass, it is similar to the woodwind. I think you're right. Um, I will say I don't know if I necessarily agree with your limited amount of music. I just feel like there's like an infinite amount of every kind of music.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
But I think piano moves on here fairly easily.
Yeah, piano's good to move on with me.
We have the semifinals coming up. Do you have any honorable mentions right now?
No.
We kind of picked every instrument in here, right?
Yeah, I messed everything up when I put stuff into instrument families because we covered pretty much. I mean,
yeah, I mean it's fine.
I guess not. Learn melodica is fun. Yeah, specific instruments. Like what's a cool
here? So one day we'll have a best instrument, and it'll be all 2,000 of them, or however many instruments there are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Harmonica, that'll annoy your friends.
Yeah, don't learn the harmonica.
it's
Just let it die. Okay, yeah, we can move on to the semifinals.
Ooh, sitar, and also those like big Indian kind of microtonal guitar things.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I said 2000. It feels like there's a lot of like instruments that in different cultures that we probably don't really know about.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, next matchup, we have guitar / bass versus the drums.
Yeah.
For the best instrument to learn.
I like how we have a whole band in this matchup.
Oh yeah, the last four is basically a band.
A nice little 3-piece, 5-piece. Yeah, I mean, I think you know where I'm leaning. I think that
I don't.
And I'm leaning guitar bass because it's so popular, but I also feel like it might be a little bit overhyped when you want to learn to play an instrument. Maybe I don't know, branch out and do something a little more unique than buying a guitar, right?
If it wasn't as popular, like this is gonna be difficult because it's hard to think. It's hard to imagine. But
I don't do that.
If the guitar wasn't as popular for whatever reason, like as not hyped. Many people played it, like very few people played it, would it still be a good instrument to learn? Like, is it good because it's in a lot of things? So that's why a lot of people like, is it like a sort of self-fulfilling thing?
Excuse me. Yeah, I think one of the things that makes guitar / bass a really good instrument to learn is the fact that it's in so many genres. Thus, there's a large repertoire of music you can learn. There's a lot of solo stuff you can learn. I mean, it's a great instrument if you just want to explore music. That being said, the other kind of pros about it, it also lays out music kind of like a piano does, to where you can kind of visualize some stuff. Another big thing about guitar that it'll really teach you is kind of guitar. You can play chords and like harmonies, whereas a lot of other instruments, I mean, besides like piano and stuff, obviously, will only play one note. So you do learn a lot about harmony when you pick up guitar. Like bass, you're not going to learn a lot about chord progressions or which notes go together and stuff. Guitar, you have to play multiple notes together and you have to know the theory behind why they sound good together. Flute, you're only going to play one note at a time. Brass, you're only going to play one note at a time. So it does kind of have that advantage as well if you want to break it down to a vacuum that's that, you know.
So similar to like you were talking about when we talked about the piano, where
piano, exactly.
Yeah, mini orchestra. The drums is a very different instrument in that sense.
Yeah, the drum's very different because it has no notes, it has no harmony, no melody.
Right.
It only has rhythm. And one of my big things, the reason drums, I think I really wanted it in semis, is because the coordination aspect of it. But a lot of drummers end up being multi-instrumentalists, and like really good multi-instrumentalists, which I think it's a great gateway instrument, but maybe not as good as a standalone instrument as guitar and bass can be.
Sure, but this is best to learn.
So maybe the gateway thing is good then.
Right.
I don't know. Does that make you lean more towards drums?
No, I don't lean either way. Honestly, I don't care for either of these instruments. I wouldn't want to learn either of these instruments. I guess if I like coming from my point of view, I would probably want to learn the bass or the guitar, even though I would never want to do that. But just because it's not as loud, it's easier, it's more easily accessible, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like I would prefer it to learn. Like if someone made me, I had to learn one of these, I would probably just. It feels like they both seem difficult to me, but I think it would just be. I would just prefer the guitar, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm leaning that way too. Also, something people won't know unless you're like end up being a guitar nerd like me. We're kind of actually happen to be in a golden age of guitar in a sense that there's so much technology that's coming out right now, so many accessories. Like you can plug your guitar into a computer, which is crazy. There's so much there's so many courses, so much learning material, like that it's so easy to just go on YouTube and learn guitar, and that's never happened before.
It's funny to think about us growing up and not being able to do so much stuff we can do now. Like you said when you said you can plug your guitar into a computer, that seemed like obvious to me, but it's you think about a couple years ago and it's just like
yeah, and I mean, yeah, sure, like someone in a music studio could do that, but like not in a sense where I can like
everyone and for sure, and like definitely
I can have a whole digital band in headphones. I have something like that.
I'm not
like,
even gonna, crazy. I don't want to go off too crazily, but it's like thinking about how when we were in high school and like we didn't even have like phones that could do stuff.
For sure.
It's like, oh my god, how did we live? But
yeah. If you had strict parents, you didn't have you didn't have an iPhone.
You didn't have a flip phone.
I mean, actually, yeah, you didn't. Yeah. I
mean, but yeah. So let's. I think I'm fine with guitar, bass. Moving on. I think that makes sense. I think if we were doing best instrument, I would eliminate that round one. That's not. I think it's that great. But for to learn, I think it's fine. I think it moves on to the finals. I think it should be there. And in the next semifinal matchup, we have piano versus the voice, which seems very difficult.
Yeah. I'm going to try to not be biased, but I mean...
I almost think, these last
I'm almost being...
Actually, these four were good semifinals, but this last is difficult. Go ahead, what were you going to say?
I feel like I'm being like anti-biased to where I don't want to pick voice because it's kind of
it
my
almost
instrument.
Makes you biased.
And I wish that same thing, I guess. Like I said, I wish I had learned piano. I mean, that's just such a...
That almost feels like we have to pick piano coming from a master of voice who's saying they wish they learned piano, right? You know what I mean? Like it's...
Yeah.
Like, do we ever think one of the best concert pianists would ever be like, I wish I learned voice?
I think here's an interesting thought experiment, or just one of the best concert pianists, I think, would listen to somebody sing just something crazy, whatever, high or just beautiful or whatever, and they would think, oh man, I could never do that. They wouldn't think, oh, I wish I had learned earlier. They would just be like, oh, I could never do that. That's the effect the voice has on people. It's like, oh, I can't do that. And it's not true. Like you can learn, just like the concert pianist wasn't born being able to play concert piano. You know what I mean?
But like, you don't think like he is good at like, do you equate them? Do you think the concert pianist, the best thing that they could play is the same thing as like the voice singer singing like some of the best thing? Because if you're saying that, then maybe they are right, because it's like they've maxed out on this one skill, like they can't do that. Or you're saying like they could have done it if they learned the same way they did that, but maybe now they can't do that. Like they sort of put all their skill or their like their learn. I mean, you know, I'm saying it the way I'm saying it almost sounds like a video game where you max out your skill points, but it just in terms
that's
of
kind of how I look at
like,
life, actually.
Yeah, right. I'm not that far off, but just in terms of saying it of like,
I get you.
Yeah. Do you think it's like a similar skill, or do you think it's like?
I hate to say
Do you think
this.
because they have so much skill on the piano, you're saying that they probably could do that because they're good at learning, and you know that because they're so good at a piano or something like that?
Right. I hate to say this, and I don't know if this is answering your question, but here's some input that I think will lead to answering your question. And I hate to say this, but I do think that the ceiling for the skill level of playing piano is a lot higher.
Okay.
Than most instruments and than voice.
And is that why if you hear someone say that they probably can't do that, you might think that they're wrong?
Yes, because I think that they could put the work in and have their voice do something that to them seems superhuman. Because that is a possibility.
Because they're so good at something that took, I don't know, but more skill, or it took them
that much focus, that much determination.
Yeah.
I think I would think they could, for that reason, for sure. And sometimes, here's the other thing, some voices, let me just say this, some voices do have limitations. It's rarer than people think, but some voices do have limitations.
Sure.
I mean, it's a physical thing.
Do you think most musical skills translate though?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think one of the best guitar players could be the best like drummer, or be the best like at voice, or be the best at like piano or something like that?
I think a lot of it
transferable.
I think a lot of it has to do with the meta skills of
music.
Yeah, a lot of it does. But again, those skills can be learned too, and those skills can be developed too. But yes, I do think those things translate. Like if you took parallel universes, in one universe, this one really good musician was a pianist, really, really, really good. If he decided to play voice or guitar in the other universe, I think it would also be really, really, really good.
Yeah, but that's true, and that almost comes down to just like work ethic.
Yeah, you kind of see that in other things too. Like people who were excelled a lot at sports tend to excel maybe in their fields, or oh yeah, I was gonna say more general, like
like there was always that like, oh, if LeBron played football, he'd be
right. Yeah. Like retired athletes that play like baseball,
or if LeBron was like a concert pianist or something,
or if LeBron was a concert pianist. I bet the spread is probably insane, for sure. Like Rachmaninoff style. Like
is Rachmaninoff the LeBron?
Anyway. But
I lean like 51-49, like that close. Piano, just because it's like, it feels like it would, like you're saying, like you wish you learned it. Like it just feels like it would help way more.
It makes you better at math too.
I don't know about that.
Just kidding.
But the voice is right there. Like to be able to have like be great at singing, or to have an amazing voice, that'd be really cool too, and that'd be cool to learn. So I wouldn't make you use any possession if you learned either way, but I think I would say piano, just for me, 51%.
No, I'm leaning piano as well, for sure. But I do agree, when like someone has like a really good singing voice, or their skills, or people that they're like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Sometimes piano doesn't have as much of that effect, and it's like, man, you know how many hours I put into this piece? Like it's
for sure. Yeah, I guess it almost even feels more accessible, even though it's, I don't know, it's different, but yeah, for sure.
It's a weird thing, for sure.
And now we have piano versus guitar in the finals, and I think going through the matchup of piano versus voice feels like this is a wash for me. I feel like piano takes this pretty easily. Nice. What are your thoughts?
It's hard for both of my instruments lost out to piano, but it makes sense because that's the one that I wish I had.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you did know it and you were the best, do you think your thoughts would be different because you don't want to necessarily have to learn it, or like it's already, you went through all that?
I'm wondering where my life would have gone if I had learned piano, because I think that yeah, right. It's such a weird.
You'd be Elon Musk, actually.
That's another thing, is that it's 1 out of a million people that grow up to be like a concert pianist or a performing pianist. You know what I mean? Like, actually,
Well, to me, that almost feels like again the hobbyist thing.
That's
right?
like anything.
It feels yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm learning piano. I don't know. What
I think it's a great instrument to learn for sure. I agree. Yeah, don't enough people are buying a guitar and selling it.
Oh, good point.
The week after, like go buy a piano
and sell that a week after. Okay, so sell piano
give it to your kids.
Tournament Style's best instrument to learn. So if you're listening to this right now and you know what, if you're listening to this right now, go learn piano. I don't care if you wanted to learn an instrument or not. Go learn piano, okay?
I'm buying Austin a piano.
A grand one. Okay.
Well, no, hold on. It's a lot.
Yeah, so that's the end of the tournament. Guillermo, do you have any plugs or shout outs or anything you like to say at the end here?
I'm just gonna say no.
Okay.
Check out my Instagram because that's where all the tournament pod stuff is at the Great Gia, Guille. I'm also on Twitter. Check out the tournament Twitter, also tournament pod.
I'm cutting all
our
that.
YouTube channel.
I'm cutting all this because you said no.
Check out our YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel.
What's the name of the YouTube channel?
Tournament Style.
We have 2 videos up, and this one will also go up.
I'm pretty happy because if you search best TV mom, ours is in like the top 3, so it's pretty sweet.
You gotta search incognito so none of your previous searches mess with the algorithm. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I feel that.
Okay, go listen to that. Also, if you enjoy music, you can listen to Guillermo's other podcast. You can go check out the episodes he has out on that called Within City Limits. The ACL lineup came out also. I feel like you should do something to do with that just because it's Austin City Limits, Within City Limits, but we'll
I
see.
really need to. Yeah. I need to get back on that whole thing.
I should have asked you about that as our question. Anyway.
Did I mention I'm a teacher?
You can follow me, find me at Austin A. Garza on Twitter and Instagram. You get more of my hot takes there. And if you enjoyed, please rate, review, and subscribe to Tournament Style on Apple iTunes, or keep listening on subscribe on Spotify. We really appreciate any listens, any viewers if you're now viewing us on YouTube. If you really enjoyed, tell a friend about this because that's how we continue to grow. And actually a little different this time. We will not be back next week. We're going to take a week break for Memorial Day. I don't know. We're tired. But we'll be back.
I'm a teacher, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, that's right. Pat him on the back.
Thank you.
We'll be back the week after with another episode, with a special theme month episode.
Theme month coming up.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye.